Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena and our regularly scheduled Sunday live stream. Today we're back over on the YouTube account. Want to be answering all your questions, and I know there are a lot out there about what is coming around the 6th anniversary. Put out a video late last night that was kind of talking about it, but we're getting this account prepped for the new Celestial hero that is going to be coming up on Tuesday. We know Monday is going to be the patch notes. Tuesday is going to be up on the global servers. Tommy was here, Mesmer as well. Ronald, thank you for joining us. Lith, Darren, it looks like a lot of people are here today. Finally catching the live stream. Thank you guys. Going through here, you can see we're already into 69-40, so we have a lot more progression to make into chapter 69. Now, in addition, I have started and I've been regularly farming out the King's Tower. So right here on the primary King's Tower, this is a point where I believe we're at like 2,500 stages right now, the King's Tower. So we do have a crazy amount of progression that we can make through here. And this yields you two of the biggest things within AFK Arena. Number one, you're getting diamonds, so you can do all of your summons. You can go ahead and do your Stargazer, and it also gives you the hero essence. This is super imperative when you're starting to gain levels. A lot of the events in here do have the martial ratings, and this is a way to really, especially if you're a little bit earlier game, if you're newer to AFK Arena, it is a huge part to not only get the gold, but also get the essence that you need. Now, right now, if you guys remember the milestone video, we did hit level 1,000. We are already up to 1,005. Now, when they opened up the rest of the Field of Stars, or that next chapter in the Field of Stars, gave us the ability to actually get a lot of essence a lot faster. So it has made it easier to go in here. And you can see we're almost at 4 trillion combat rating in here. So again, making a lot of progression. And we still need the copy of Lan. I have a couple scrolls in here. If you guys, and honestly, it's incredible that when we've been going through here, when we've been building out these heroes, Lan is still looking for one more star. It's been kind of crazy that it has been this long. And we want to know, and really kind of hard, kind of stressful. A lot of players are kind of speculating that we might not see the swap that includes the Draconic heroes. I know there was a meme out there. There's a couple different things, but rumor is players are saying that there is no swap for the Draconic heroes. And then a lot of players were also saying that if we have a swap for the Draconic heroes, who exactly would you swap within here? And thinking in here, looking at really the heroes that you use, looking at, still seeing a lot of play out of Gwen if you don't have everyone built. Scion seeing a lot of play. Lan still seeing some utility. The rest of these, if you don't have them or have them built really, my thought is Hildwyn. So if they do allow us to do the swap, number one, I would absolutely say Hildwyn would be the one, and Hildwyn is going to be the one that everyone is going to swap. You can get them right now out of the Temple Rift. You can also get them out of the guild store. So essentially, it would be the same methodology that we see with the other two heroes in here. One, which is Wukong. The second one, which is Flora, where we do the swap event for Wukong or Flora, and then we just build them up. As you can see right here, he's already up to Ascended, but then we just build them up again. Would be the same, again, methodology behind doing the swap with Hildwyn and then building up Hildwyn a second time to go ahead and build them out. Now, the question is, who would you swap him for? So a lot of players have said swapping Hildwyn for Lan if you don't have Lan built, but also swapping Hildwyn for either Halia or for Skyland, just again for the damage piece, which I don't know how long with the power creep that a lot of our damage dealers are going to really be super viable. And I'm going to get together this week to do the updated tier list for April. So we're going to have to see exactly what it means. Love this game. I've tried so many games as this one. I kept coming back. I hope the devs love the game. Yeah, Benedict, that's exactly my thought. Kind of the opportunity is here when it comes to AFK Arena, when it comes to gameplay. There are so many adjustments, and I'm not talking, complete massive 110% overhauls to every single game system in here, but there are systematically some tweaks that they could make, even thinking kind of even quality of life. So if we look in here, and thank you to Mesmer and thank you to Lith for lending me those heroes. But overall, when you start looking at some of the little quality of life adjustments, and honestly, they could do this systematically, kind of patch by patch, very slow over an extended amount of time. Let's say, for instance, they hop in here, the next patch has 1 or 2 quality of life improvements, changing up some of the guild, changing up some of the Ghoulish Gallery, changing up a couple different places, within the game itself, and just continuously doing this. doing it on a regular basis, knowing the sticking points that we have for so many players within AFK Arena, and adjusting and removing those sticking points or really those friction points that we have within the game would make a really, really big difference. Just being able to make progression, just being able to get the heroes. And we've said this, and interesting enough, because most of you know, if you're familiar, I have another channel that we started playing Raid Shadow Legends, and it is kind of, there's some points in there, of course, that don't work incredibly well, but there are some points in there that they do incredibly well, including the clan or the guild bosses. It is systematically how I've always imagined it. It was the exact same with Idle Heroes when we played Idle Heroes, and how the bosses and the methodology behind the bosses and the guilds worked. I feel like, again, that's a huge opportunity that we do have in this game to make some tweaks, some adjustments, even if they use the same boss, even if it was still Riz and Soren, just kind of changing up the methodology on how they are. How early should I start summoning for Draconic heroes? Honestly, right now, I would probably save for the Draconic heroes. Now, looking at the Dragon Isle, in here, you could use your scrolls, but I do not recommend, and I would not recommend, Ronald, doing anything in here with diamonds. This is a place where the diamond, the cost and the return is not there, and it is not there by a long shot. They're putting the regular Draconic heroes on the same level or the same cost as your Celestials and your Hypos. However, most of your Draconic heroes, even looking at the wish list in here, are not anywhere near the level that we see with the Celestials and the Hypos, meaning not really imperative. In addition, when you're building out the Awakened heroes, you need Stargazer Scrolls or you need diamonds to add the star to get those 3 additional copies. So this is a point where you could use the scrolls, maybe just pulling 1 or 2 copies. But honestly, looking in here, looking at all of the regular ones we have, Scion's being used, Meleon's being used kind of in a niche, even if you don't have Meleon built, wouldn't make a huge difference in some formations. So out of here currently, we have Scion, Nyla, unfortunately, I believe, niche in 1 formation, but might have even been replaced at this point. But overall, not really worth the summons. Now, when it comes to the Dragon Heart Temple, this is another place where the cost of the Draconic heroes are not worth it. By the time that you get enough insignias to actually start summoning these up, chances are they could be out of meta. Even going through here and looking at, the heroes themselves, if you're building out Halia, if you're building out Skyland, chances are by the time that a regular player gets them built, they're not going to have any utility at all, which kind of sucks. But it's very, very honest that the utility of these, even Gwen, and at this point, a majority of free-to-play players have one built outside of Hilduin, because again, if you were playing Hilduin, you got for free. But most players that have been continuously building these Draconic heroes have 1 Highborn Draconic hero built, and that's it. That's it. Even thinking of my account, we purchased quite a bit to finish out Gwen. Then we moved over to land. We have been working on land for, I think, about 6 months. I think at this point, it's been about 6 months that we have been continually building out land. Now, Dragonforge, we have this all completed. Going to have to wait another 55 hours for the rewards. But overall, it has been months on months on months to be able to do that. What did I miss? Lilith finally listening. So we put a lot of information. Most of you know, we have a Discord that we put a lot of information, what we want to see, the changes, the improvements. A lot of things are going over there, Asta, that we're kind of seeing what's going to happen. There was a point in AFK Arena where we would give them a lot of feedback. The changes were very predominant and very quick. I'm talking 1 or 2 patches or even hot fixes that we did see changes for a lot of the areas in AFK Arena. As of right now, it doesn't seem like we're seeing as much of the changes or the alterations as we're going through all of these game modes that most of us would like to see. But we're going to have to see what the 6th anniversary is going to do. Because honestly, when it comes to the 6th anniversary, they got to make it big. They got to have the ability and remove some of the confusion when it comes to players. And what I mean by confusion, if you guys aren't really familiar with it, some of the big things is when new players join AFK Arena, they are launched into companions. I literally get comments every single day on the YouTube channel. why do my heroes not look like yours? Why don't I have access to, to Sheltier, to Ainz, to Albedo? Why don't I have access to Rem and Amelia? It is because they are dropping you into the companion server versus dropping you into the classic server and then allowing players to go in or move over to the companion server. So in my opinion, right there, they're kind of doing it backwards. I don't like that they're dropping players right into the companion server, and then players are really confused because some of the heroes don't exist in companions. That you're seeing the promotional marketing on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, whatever. The promotional marketing you're seeing doesn't contain the heroes that you're looking for, which again is just a whole nother thing. Definitely some quality of life. Let's hop in here, guys. I want to do some couple summons, and let me get back, answer some of these questions in here. Almost there as well. Highly recommend for anyone going to stack 70 cards, then summon. Stop when you pull them. Yeah, 70 cards at a time, Andrew. A lot of players will stack a couple hundred. So traditionally, when you come in, even looking at the insignias and looking at the rates, because these are still at 2% rate here with land. Most players are going in here saving roughly 4 to 450 insignias before they make the decision based on, tier list, metas, everything else, instead of building out a hero. Because when we think of, again, Halia, when you think of Skyland, when you think of Gwen, those heroes really don't work unless you have a big build on them, just because they are damage dealing heroes. If you don't have a big build, you're not going to be able to have the stats or the abilities that are unlocked to really build them up to where they need to be. It makes a big difference. Yeah, you could do it every 70. 70 should give you a guaranteed hero for sure. But yeah, the Draconic heroes are still expensive. I had to use diamonds in the Draconic summons to get Scion. Some people do. And if you remember when Scion came out, Asta, we actually had a lot of feedback from a lot of my guildies, a lot of feedback over on Reddit and Discord about how many hundreds of thousands of diamonds it took them to actually pull the heroes, which again is kind of crazy that it is taking that many. There's a copy of Misha. That many summons, not only the combination of scrolls, which I believe we used like 400 scrolls, but then I believe we used about 75,000 diamonds. So again, thinking of the sheer cost of both of those is incredibly, incredibly high. We got some elites here. Most of these, of course, are just going to be one-offs of food. I'm going to save my card because there's not really anyone that we're looking for. Just trying to pick up and get some of the Celestials, the Hypos, or even getting some of the Awakened heroes in here is really all that we're looking at this point. Majority of them, we do have them at 5 stars already kind of built out. And the rest of this, again, is just fodder for where we're at right now. Would rather be considered swapping Awakened Belinda for either Leica or Thorin. Honestly, in there, I would probably do Leica. Now, a lot of people, Lucas, are also saying that a lot of players, you're not going to be able to swap for the 2025 Awakened heroes, which means like heroes like this. Envy, as much as I would love to swap a really old Awakened hero we have, usually they will exclude the newest one, which they might even do it for Zora as well. So we might see both of these excluded from the summons itself or excluded from the swap itself when they do have that 6th anniversary. Usually there's a couple, and they might just do like this year, any heroes released in 2025, which I believe would also exclude Halia out of here, again, for that swap in 2025. So yeah, would I swap for Leica or Thorin? The Awakened version of Belinda still has a lot of utility, guys. This is a hero where if you swap Belinda, one, it's going to be incredibly difficult to make progression in the Lightbearer Tower, especially if you do not have Lucius built. It's going to be very, very hard to make progression in there because Lucius is very expensive. And if you do not have Thane, you're going to be kind of screwed with the tower progression if you do swap Belinda. And she's also used in a lot of content. Again, when you think bigger picture AFK Arena, if you do not have all of these heroes built and all of these heroes built up very, very high, you're not going to be able to make a lot of progression because if you're swapping some of the heroes, again, the towers are going to suffer. And traditionally, that's what we've seen in here. Oh, we haven't done any of this. My God, it ends in 8 days and we haven't done any of this. This is going to give me a great opportunity, though, to sit back and actually chat with you guys, go through and answer some questions because I can see them popping up on my other screen. So let me hop these in here and we'll get through some of these. Finally built Aurelia to 1 star with 40 SI and 60 Same with Gavis, except for the 40. Yeah, Mystical. Aurelia is one of a few that need the plus 40 signature item. Without the plus 40 signature item, the hero runs at about probably 50% capacity. You do have to build the heroes out quite a bit out of there to really be really the utility in there. What's going on, Z? Thank you, Hippo. I got our Mythic Plus so far. Oh, very cool, Andrew. Anniversary next month. Yes, the anniversary should be honestly next patch. So the next patch should be coming up. But if they're doing, and again, rumor mill right here, guys, again, being on a couple different groups, the rumor mill is there is going to be a dimensional crossover that is going to come with the next update. So the anniversary, I believe they are going to do another crossover. It's going to be a dimensional crossover. Don't know if it's going to be one or two. Win with 5 different factions. So again, it seems like if we have another crossover, it could literally be right around the corner for the crossover to see exactly what we're going to get out of there. Is the new hero a must get? So far right now, Cheesy, no. So I went back, we did our test day video, we did kind of the new stuff with the king. I forget his name or the pronunciation, but looking at the new Celestial that's coming, doesn't seem like there's a crazy amount of utility with the Celestial, is what we've kind of noticed. Even I didn't see him in Cursed Realm Nightmare Corridor. Treasure Scramble's kind of a one-off, but overall didn't see them in a lot of different places. So I would have to see. I didn't check back in to see where the hero is going to be used, if the hero is used in a lot of other places today. And of course, you guys also have to remember that when it comes to the build, when it comes to some of those heroes, it makes a big difference when it comes to global, where everybody gets the test version of the hero, because there's not a ton of people that play on the test servers anymore. So even all of the content over there, and again, short of, a dozen whales that are over on the test server, we don't see, it's not really indicative to how well a hero performs on the test server, just because there isn't as many people over there. If we could swap Eugene, that would be nice too. Oh, that would be kind of crazy if they let us swap. And honestly, guys, with so many heroes in AFK Arena, I don't understand the logic. Why not make the event bigger? Swap a regular 4-faction, swap a Celestial and Hypo, swap an Awaken, swap a Draconic, pick any hero you want to swap and just swap it. Even if you hop in here and think about how happy that would make the player base. And again, it's not going to be an absolute game changer for everyone in the world. If they're allowing us to swap, it's going to... There's no reason, there's no logic to limit it. So, okay, Envy's a really good hero. Already been released, already been played with, played, has been out for 2 weeks at this point, being used in a couple places. You know what? Have players swap to Envy. If that is exactly the hero that they're looking for, have them, and Lilith should go ahead and just let them swap and just be done with it. So you lose out on one single awakened hero because you do a swap for another one. The player's going to be losing the other hero in addition, but you could just let us do the swap. And again, I know, they might lose a little bit of money. At this point, guys, it's kind of a moot point for me. They could do a lot of changes and adjustments like we were talking about, and then it would do incredibly well. How do we build out Envy? Envy needs a big build. So, we're talking like 309.60 minimum. I would probably even go higher than that, for the simple fact that in all of the progression that we're seeing, he is best in slot in a lot of places, was this wild? It might not have been wilder in here. Yeah, but Envy is being used everywhere, literally everywhere. And you're going to have him as the damage dealer, which in here, yep, it was wilder. So we need Titus Insomnia. Let's swap in Titus Insomnia in here, which again, some heroes that we really never use that we do have to find somewhere in here. There is Sonya, and then Titus is the giant wall that again is on level 1. Yeah, I think, again, thinking bigger picture, they could adjust a lot of things. Finish my Graveborn team. Simone is 3 moves away from 80 engraving. Awaken Chimera, Rando, Ivan, and Oden. That is awesome, Tommy. That is really cool. My oldest Awaken are Sophia and Solus. Do you recommend swapping them? Right now, it seems like Solus is pretty much out of the tier list in the entirety. I'm not seeing a lot of places that Solus is still being used, and I feel like we're going to continue to see the decline of Solus. That we're not going to see him as many places. That's probably one that I would look at building. Sophia, we still see a couple places, and Sophia as well. If you're removing her, you're going to struggle when it comes to must be the same. You're going to struggle without Sophia in the Mauler Tower. It's another place again that is a little bit less forgiving, where the Wilders have very strong heroes, very systematically looking at Aethys, a lot of other ones. But if you're swapping for Sophia, you're going to have problems. Thank you for breaking down the new Celestial. Yeah, it took me a while to break down the skills and abilities, because logically it seems like some of the abilities don't work for certain heroes. And again, that's where I feel like a lot of players, we're just kind of getting confused. Was this Greyborn? Celestial or Hippo? Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like I feel like a lot of players are kind of lost on the new hero, which again, it's odd depending on the placement of him. If it's a rook, if it's a knight, if it's the king, if they go into a knight, it's kind of weird. What collection? Athalia's collection. Absolutely, Masters. Athalia's collection is huge in there for the big damage boost that is getting. So here we have Light Bearers, no one dying. Again, I want to clean this out. That way we can just go ahead and cross this off the list. Those think it's hard to be. And that's my thought, Benedict. Like, honestly, when you think how much are they possibly losing by swapping the heroes that already have? All the whales already built him, all the players that were looking for the hero, all the players that, wanted, and again, just kind of using Envy, all the players that wanted to build Envy or had the resources to, have already had. If you swap it, just go ahead and let it go. Is Zora a must because I'm getting her and I'm one copy from Legendary Plus? Still has a lot of utility. Zora is one that, again, we're still seeing Zora in quite a few formations. I don't know for how long, just for the damage factor and the power creep factor on what it's going to look like longer term. But yeah, Zora is still being used. So we need Salakai and Naruko. Yeah, Salakai and Naruko. So we're going double Mauler in here. So Salakai, which again, this is one that had a super amount of hopefulness. So Naruko is already in there. But unfortunately, Salakai did kind of fall on his face. Unfortunately, we didn't see a lot of that. I'm a newbie. I watch a lot of your videos trying to push fast. And a Mobile Legends adventure a couple of years ago. This game is set up. Yeah, I played Mobile Legends. Ronald, I played Mobile Legends for quite a bit years ago. Same with Raid. I played quite a bit. Again, Idle Heroes. I played quite a bit. I always came back to AFK Arena. Just the dynamic with it, the build, everything within this game. I've always come back to this, even with everything else that we've played. Which again, the game has such a solid base core, solid with the heroes, solid with everything. That's where I feel like they have a lot of opportunity. I don't know if the devs want to call me, and if they do, go ahead. They have my contact information. The devs can call me. Don can call me. I'd love to have an interview and a sit down with Don on what's going well and what's not. Absolutely, I would love. I just started AFK Arena last week. I want to say your tutorials are GOAT. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, Alexi. Yeah, absolutely. I love doing the guides, guys, anytime. And that is why, and when I originally started doing my YouTube videos, was the guides. I was going through a lot of content and I was getting hundreds of questions messaged in the chat about how do I do this? What's this? What's the best here? And a lot of guildies, big shout out to casuals. A lot of guildies back then said, just do a YouTube video, put all the content together, make sure, players know and players can rely on what you have. And they even said at that time, we'll create some of the visuals, which I know White Sushi, a couple other players did for a crazy amount of time. But overall, working together with a lot of other collaborators, content creators, a lot of Discord, a lot of players that are whales much higher than me, we got a crazy amount of everything done. So many strong players quit on my region. Yeah, I know. I see that everywhere, that we're starting to see it. You look fantastic tonight. Well, thank you. I think that is the name. I think that's someone's name. I watch your videos, and when I can live stream, just want to say hi. What's going on, David? Thanks for joining us for the stream. Yeah, today it's a little bit early. We actually have volleyball a little bit later, so I'm going to have to hop off after the stream and take my daughter to volleyball, which seems to be encompassing my entire life, but it's all good. It's a ton of fun. Salakai flopped. Yes, absolutely, Yoshi. And if you guys remember way back, ladies Simona and Mira is way back when Salakai was being released. We were very, very, very hopeful when Salakai came out because Nemisu had been carrying literally the faction forever. Now, I know I have Mira in here, and it seems like that when Alero came out, that again was a massive disappointment, massive, horrible build. And then, of course, we had Salakai come out, a little bit decent, but overall not what the Maulers were really looking for. So it's been a lot of disappointing progression when it comes to support heroes and getting them within the Maulers. I think that's why they did that Awakened version of Sophia, which did work incredibly well, but overall, yeah, need some more. Pulled a nice collection this morning, finally, for Awakened Chimera. Stopwatch was 6 Mythic. That's awesome, Christopher. That is a very, very good one. And look at that. Echo gifting the membership, and it goes to Cheesy. Congratulations, Cheesy. There is a membership. I love seeing the little hippos that Tommy has and Mesmer and everybody else. It's really, really cool to see them in here. Thank you for supporting the channel. That's absolutely amazing. Do you think we'll get another swap scroll? I think they'll do an event. I think it is going to be the event, Jay. I don't think it's going to be a swap scroll itself. If they did, I would like it. I mean, I wouldn't say no to a swap scroll. But even now, guys, we have so many. I mean, we're coming up on 200 heroes in AFK Arena. Having the ability to get rid of some of the older heroes, some of the ones that have no utility, some of the ones that, you know, you built kind of once upon a time. I feel like, again, they could change up a lot with that and just make it easier for players. Make it easier. Is Rando viable late game? Yes, Ronald. Absolutely. Randy, you want to build and you want to build out, even still best in slot in a lot of different places. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Randy does super, super well early game, mid game, and then falls into a lot of formations as it comes into later game. It does incredibly well. I'd love to get some Heroes of Esperia advice. Once you finish this, I've been running anything. I'm in Diamond, but I don't know if I can get to Masters. So the big thing with Masters is if you do it a little bit later, it gets easier. If you're pushing right now through the Heroes of Esperia, it can be incredibly frustrating. If you go in there and you do it a little bit later, it can get a lot easier just for the simple fact that most of the larger players have already pushed through a lot of the content and already moved into Masters. And as they continue to kind of funnel into Masters, you're removing them from essentially getting the teams. But yeah, guys, I know a couple players have asked, just hop on Discord. I know Mesmer offers a crazy amount of advice. D2, I don't know where he's been lately, but I know he's still playing because we have the companions link. Again, there's a lot of content. There's a lot of different things, and especially versions like the Heroes of Esperia. It's very difficult to tell you what comps to use or just really blanket. You know, AFK guys, a couple other people go ahead and they put out guides for a lot of the content. And a lot of players say that they don't have those players because, again, it's very, very hard to know what you have, what utility you have, how you have them built. It varies greatly with all of the formations just based on what your account personally possesses and what you have. It does make a big difference. I'm just sad I don't have enough SI40 materials. Just got Nox SI40, but wanted the new Awakened SI40. Also, Randy for the boss. It just takes time, Echo. That's it. So even here is, guys, my personal preference, and I'll show you guys in just a minute. So going through, I believe we got all of these. Let's go ahead and collect. Boom. Let's open up some of these chests. Because again, I think that is everything in here. And then we get the big granddaddy chest. We're still going to leave Rando in there. Do have a couple more stones in here as well as all the engraving mats. We have some of our red chests in there. Look at all of that loot. That's 450 more. So let me hop over. I want to show you Envy because we, just like what you were just saying, Echo, a lot of players, or you didn't have the ability to build them out to where you wanted to. That's exactly where we fell with Envy. We didn't have the ability to build them out where we wanted to, but I've just been slowly building them. So I'll show you in a minute. We'll hop over and we'll take a look at him. Because overall, if you guys remember, I got to about 36, maybe 36, 38 engraving. And at this point, we've actually got him all the way to 60. So we have him at the plus 40 signature item. We have him at the 9 of 9 furniture. And then we also did get him to the 60 engraving. Now, when you start thinking of the damage and really hitting that very, very top end damage with some of these champions, that is where these come in. Now, of course, these nodes, you can only build up one right there. But looking at the accuracy, looking at the crit, and then building up the attack rate here, these are the nodes that you want to build up a little bit higher. I need another 300 there. So when you look, again, adding physical pierce is going to be straight damage. Crit damage, of course, the more that he can crit, the better. And then the attack and the attack speed, this is a really, really strong glyph for him, bringing him to 66, and I'm going to build this out to 67. Not too worried about the accuracy. It's already pretty high, but overall, I'm going to build him to a 67. That's where I'm going to leave him. Not going to worry about, you know, the HP, the defense, even over here, the crit block rating, crit damage resistance. Overall, I'm not going to worry about anything else. So I'm going to take him to a 40967. And then also when it comes to the inn, I'm going to build out his furniture past this 9 of 9 furniture, just for the simple fact that we want him to do more damage, and we want him to do more damage in every single game mode that we possess. Now in here, we do have the physical pierce on here. I could swap this with an attack collection, but overall physical pierce, especially because we have this leveled up a little bit higher, very, very high on the damage meter with this specific hero, does work very well. What's going on, Soul Slayer? For Heroes of Esperia, look at what other players are using. Yeah, that's the big thing, where even on my account, where I believe I'm still using all of the Heroes of Esperia that we had last season. So going in here is you can kind of go through and systematically, like what Lith was talking about, going in here is you can go up and look at what these larger players, you know, I know Julius was in here. I know a couple other ones were in here. But if you look at the formations, you can kind of run down and see, what do I have built? What do I have available to me? What teams can I make? Again, kind of based on my build. Now, of course, whale build, you can see kind of everything is built out in the entirety. But there are so many places where you can go through, you can look at other formations, even looking at when you're fighting other players. What formations are they running? What is the viability of the formations? What can you build in different formations? And of course, this does use martial rating. So looking at my level, we are much, much, much higher than most of the other players, just for the simple fact we're at 340, they're at 295. I haven't really pushed the Heroes of Esperia at all at this point. But you can see building out a couple different heroes, and I don't believe I have Envy in here. I don't believe I have a couple. Again, just because I did not update my teams yet this season to make a lot more progression and start pushing through here. But you can see, oh yeah, I did put Envy in here. Look at this combination, and then we have some buffers back here. We have some instant crowd control. That's a very strong team right here, because we're going to get that instant crowd control right off the bat, amplifying the energy that Envy has. Envy's just going to run through the entire formation in its entirety. Does anyone know how many red chests and epic emblems are needed to get to SI 40? I believe, yeah, it was like 300. There you go, 300 red and 500 blue. So the way to do it and the way to build it out, if you guys remember, when it comes to building out the plus 40 signature items, there is a very specific way to do it. So when we look at a hero and we're trying to build out the plus 40 signature item, let's just use, for instance, let's go with Kelton. So plus 30 signature item, when you're building this out, is you want to use your epic chaos emblems for the first level, going from 30 to 31. This, again, mathematically is going to be the point where you want to use these emblems to take him to 31. Then you want to use your chaos emblems or your red chests right here. The red chests are going to take him to 32 all the way to essentially 38. And then 39 and 40 are going to go back to the epic chaos emblems. Mathematically, they did this when the 40s came out. And mathematically, you know, doing one level here, then doing the other 8 levels here, and then finishing it out the last final 2 levels with these mathematically makes the most sense, because for most players, including myself, getting those epic emblems are near impossible. We are at 282 right now. We don't get them on a regular basis. Not many places that we get them at all, which is the same when it comes to our arcane staffs. That's the reason why for so many players, it is such just an absolute pain in the butt to go in there and do all of the Ghoulish Gallery, because you never get the arcane staffs that you need to actually build them out, which again, can be not only frustrating where when you finally get enough resources to come in the Ghoulish Gallery, you can do all of your summons, you can do, you know, the run in here, but then you get to the point where, oh, you didn't pull whatever you wanted to, or you didn't have the ability to get what you wanted to. It does really, and it is very, very frustrating when you save all of these legendary totems and then use the legendary totems and it doesn't yield you anything that you want, or it's just an absolute complete dirt collection that you have to sacrifice. It's horrible. It is honestly horrible to go through there. 800 red chests. Yeah, the red chests are a lot in there. Oh, my Guildy AFK Elite. Very nice, Izzy. Should I swap my Brutus to Lucius? You definitely could. That is one, again, when you think of a hero like Brutus, and I love Brutus, guys, he is such a very, very cool hero. Minimal use. I mean, the only place you're ever going to see Brutus right now is the Mauler Tower. You're not going to see him anywhere else. Lucius, of course, going to be used like crazy within the Lightbearer Tower. And honestly, just break it down systematically. Look at where they are on the tier list. What makes the most sense for who you have built? Even looking here for Curse Realm, you know, a lot of places we're not seeing. Right there's Envy. Right there we have, again, Belinda. We just talked about swapping out Belinda. Belinda still has a lot of viability in different places. We have Scion right there. Then we do have Iran. We have Zora, like we were talking about with Zora. Nyla is in here. And again, I believe this is the only niche formation that we see her in. And there is Kren. Look at this, guys. Even on a whale build, we have Kren. That's the Halloween costume for Kren. Still being used in here. And then the final one, of course, is hidden in here. But it's interesting to see that some of the heroes, like when we see Vika, when we see the original version of Baden, when we see Kren, it's changing up the dynamic as they continue to release new heroes to AFK Arena. It does change up the dynamic considerably, just based on the heroes, the hero build, and where the utility really comes in. Let me pop all of these open. Oh, my bag is running low on space. I think all of our summons just filled this up, and I don't even know if we have enough, which we might. Is that going to finish out Misha? It looks like that is, guys. So we are going to finish out the last copy of Misha. That takes her to 5 stars, which means, and if they ever start releasing regular faction heroes again, because even in here, that takes out all of our Wilders. We need, I think, 3 more stars right here on Mira. And then looking at Goran and looking at Raul, I believe they are almost complete as well. Raul needs 2 more stars. And then looking at Goran, he needs 3 more stars. So literally, we're down to almost nobody left to build with the regular 4 factions, because they never come out with heroes in the regular 4 factions anymore. It seems like it's so far and few in between to actually come out with the heroes. Now, also within this account, we're not buying any more of the packs. We did not renew the Twisted Bounties. Regal Rewards we're not picking up. And then I believe even at this point, a lot of the other things have expired. And I believe, let me look at the subscription cards. I think about everything is done in here. Again, until we see some changes, until we see a couple different things, even the monthly cards, they went inactive. So unfortunately, we're not getting any more rewards out of here. I want to see what's coming down the pipeline when this one expires, which I think we have a couple more, probably a couple more days on. 18 more days. Once this one expires, we're not putting anything as it sits right now into AFK Arena. Just for the simple fact, I'm not sure what's going on. What's going on, Zolthamus? So yeah, I'm really kind of waiting to see. Even looking here in the Beast Grounds, I mean, we got 3,600 baits. Slumbering Seal is already at 30. We're just going to finish them out. The ones that we have in here, you know, the Panda, the Owl, the Seal, we're just going to finish them out in the entirety. Once we get to 36, we're just going to keep moving down and building out all of these beasts. As we continue to build them out further, we know right now that number 1 is still the Slumbering Seal. That is still the one that is still used in a crazy amount of content, because it's the one that works fundamentally is different than the rest of the beasts that we have in here. but that is one that, again, and it looks like we got a lot of pandas in here. I am seeing panda after panda after panda. There we go. There's the seal. So we'll just continue maxing them out. I don't know if they're ever going to do anything else with this, if they're ever going to go to a higher beast resonance level, or if there's going to be, you know, anything really past 18. But once you get your beast up to 18, there's really no reason to build it any further. You get very minimal stats. There's no more abilities, which is, again, the big reason why for a lot of players, they will not build it any further. In here, we keep just leveling up the panda right here, but that takes panda maxed out in here for stat wise. So as we continue to get more copies, even here's 23, 25, and then we do have 30 with our seal. We'll go ahead and drop some more copies in there. I think that'll give us one more level, which again, we're just kind of going through and building this out kind of one by one. Takes him to 31 in there. Yeah, absolutely getting there. Most players, the swap is between red and white chess makes sense. I only started using red for SI40. That's so one thing, yeah, that I've noticed, and you're building them to 50. That is massive to build them up to 50 is the income. So when we look at the red chest, when we look at the epic chest, building it out like we were just talking about, doing the 31, then the 38, 39, makes sense in here if you have the chest. But ultimately, we have 1630 red chests in here. I've actually used the last one or two, I've used some more of the red chest, just for the simple fact that we're getting red chests on a regular basis. We're seeing them all the time. And then even looking here, guys, we have 513. We have 1,118 epic Dragonspeak emblems because we don't have the option to build your Draconic heroes. If I could build out Skyland, if I could build out Halia, you know, a couple other of those, I could use some of these. But overall, since we're not building any of those out, it doesn't make a difference because we're not getting copies in here. So this is just food. Unfortunately, nothing in there. Could it be an Awakened Hero? Boom, it is the original version of Belinda. So unfortunately, no Awakened Hero there. And again, so all of those are just going back to the recycled territory of making more food within the Temple of Ascension. Again, it just getting legendary heroes. We need more of the primary four factions. They're easier to build. We can even do the desired hero summons in here. It does make it very, very easy to build all of those regular heroes. Even here, I mean, if we dropped in the, 3 that we don't have built, we could max them out with the desired hero summons, which I might actually do some. But we've also talked about, and I know Mesmer and I have kind of chatted about this, about going in and finishing out some of these some of these Awakened heroes, adding more stars on Chimera, adding more stars on a couple different ones. Now we did for a few of them, because if you remember, just like we did with Envy, built him out to 5 stars because of the stats. But I know, I believe Leica, we did the same. Yep, we built him out to 5 stars. Antandra built out to 5 stars, but we could build out Lucius and a couple other ones. Adding some more stats would essentially add a lot more damage in there. Same with Zora and a few other ones that we could add a couple more stars on there, increasing the damage that they're doing in a bunch of different places. As a brand new player, should I play on Companions or Classic? Classic. I would absolutely do Classic cast, and the reason is the way that I see it, when I look at the Classic version, when I look at Companions, the Classic version is the full game. That's one of the big things, Cass, is when you look at all of the guides, all the videos, everything else, almost everything we do is on the Classic. This is where all of the heroes are contained. This is where I feel like the core game is at, is the Classic. Companions, it's fun to start, and it was really good when we started Companions for about the first 30, 60 days. Then it gets super old, and there's nothing that comes from it. They haven't done anything new on the Companion server an incredible amount of time. They're doing kind of the same thing, even looking at the events here. We're running, Lost Sigils, Heroes of Esperia. We have seen those forever. Since release, they have actually run those. I know they're a little bit newer, but since they started running the Lost Sigils, it's on repeat every couple of months. Same with the Heroes of Esperia. Treasure Scramble on repeat, Temple Rift on repeat, Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, Treasure Scramble, all on repeat. To have anything that is, 100% genuine new events, new content, that's not something reskinned, because even now, Poetic Pop Quiz is coming back, which again, I believe this is the 5th iteration of the Poetic Pop Quiz that's coming. Also, I believe they're doing the the flip draws where you earn the keys to do that. The Celestial Isles, I think it's called. Again, that is something that they're looking to just bring back. But that's something that we've seen, and we've seen it for an incredible amount of time now, meaning that there's not a crazy amount of viability or a crazy amount of actual legitimate new events or even overhauled parts that don't work incredibly well, where we could see a lot more of the functionality or actually the viability of getting, again, some new events, getting some new content, getting some new, I mean, something short of just throwing out new heroes. And they do that very, very well, throwing out new heroes all of the time. Yeah, I want to see a couple new things. Is Shuna still good? Yes. Shuna is still being used in a lot of different content. Shuna does incredibly well. Still also seeing Rimuru. So this is one of the very select animes that I watched. But yeah, Rimuru, Shuna, still doing very well. Rem and Amelia still seeing a lot of play in there. I do like it. I really hope they don't increase the beast levels. Yeah, I don't either. I feel like they could do something more with the beasts. And I don't know if you're familiar with companions, how you have the ability to combine different beasts in here. Again, I don't know if that's something that they would kind of entertain, but they have a lot of possibilities with the game. When you're talking pulling awakens, what do you mean? So pulling the awakened heroes. So when you have the awakened heroes, there is a chance in here, Ronald, within the Noble Tavern, a very, very slim chance to pull awakened heroes. Right here, the 0.1% is getting the awakened heroes. Now, when you look at bigger picture, the awakened heroes come from the Temple of Time. This is where they are actually summoned. So heroes like this with Envy, this is where you can use them. Now, you can't use the scrolls in here. You have to use your time emblems. You can see right here, we have 538 time emblems right here on the top. This is the way to pull the awakened heroes. So when we talk about pulling the awakened heroes, we can go in here and pull them. Now, when you build them out, you can take them all the way to Ascended once you do hit Ascended. So once you get enough copies to take the awakened heroes to Ascended, then we move over to the Stargazer. As you can see right here is Envy again. This is where you add stars on them. Now, the big thing to remember, Ronald, and I know you had said earlier that you were newer to AFK Arena, is when it comes to building out them, the Stargazer are going to kind of overlap because you need Stargazer scrolls in here. You also need diamonds in here. That is the two really big things. So now you have an overlap of building up and adding stars on those awakened heroes while you're using this game mode to build out your Celestials and your Hypos. You know, even looking at like early game, building out Liberta, building out a couple of heroes. This is very, very important because you're going to be splitting your resources between both of them, either adding stars to the awakened heroes or building out your Celestials or Hypos, which again, could make a little bit of a difference. I like more of the beasts and companions. Yeah, again, I feel like they could revamp some of this. They could add a little bit more functionality in here, or even give us some ways to get some extra baits. You know, even when we think of going into the peaks of time, and I always make fun and I poke fun at the coming soon. This has been coming soon for 4 years. I believe at this point it has been 4 years. Even the original release 6 years ago of AFK Arena went all the way through the Contorted Realm, and then they added this Forgotten Mind. This was an old school voyage we did. And once they added this one in, that was the last one they ever added. Coming soon has always been coming soon. Wandering Balloon in here, this is another point where they used to add this, and again, coming soon has really been coming soon for a multitude of years. And then the Trial of God, there's nothing coming soon that I'm aware of, but even as of now with our collections, going in here and getting these class-specific artifacts were huge when they came out, but as right now, nobody is going to use these at all. So getting these artifacts, and honestly, they need to just remove the Trial of God, all of this content, just remove it because these are worthless because they give you access to the Ghoulish Gallery and collection so early. Class-specific artifacts you're not going to use at all. Even thinking the old Durs artifacts you're not going to use at all. So all of those are completely scrapped. And again, it's a lot of old content that just sits around AFK Arena, and we don't see any adjustments. We don't see anything with it. But ultimately, it's points where players are either getting stuck, getting confused, and there's no way, and they're not going to use it for anything. No one's going to use it for anything at this point. which again is a little bit unfortunate. The events on a repeat wouldn't be so bad if they updated the rewards. Yes. So that was one of my really, really big points, Lith, is when they do the events and when they do a lot of these, they're just leaving the same stuff that we've seen in there. The same, like when I went through the new free-to-play account that we've been playing, is when you start looking at what you have in here, they need to update. Again, they need to get to the point of updating these rewards, putting in some more of the meta heroes or putting in, some of the heroes that you actually want to build. As of right now, none of these are really used. Maybe Mahira in campaigns, but the rest of these are not being used. And even to have the ability to build them out a multitude of ways. Now imagine, for an instance, if you were building out Lavatoon or Nox or, Liberta, Lucilla, building out some of those meta heroes that are higher in the tier list, and they were in here, meaning it's going to be, saving you a couple of your Stargazer scrolls. You're going to be saving a couple of diamonds, because this is a point where you're going to get the heroes that you want or that you need, that you want to build out. In the same, when we look at the Temporal Rift, when we look at so many different game modes, everything that's in here, all of these are first generation, short of Eugene and of course the Draconic hero right here with Hildwyn. Don't buy these. There's no reason to buy these. They need to refresh. They need to update this. Yeah, they need they need it. They need it to just update, to go through and systematically just update a lot of this content, revamp some of the rewards, even lyrical exploration. Again, when you look at your rewards in here, there's no one I'd build. I mean, you'd get a copy of Flora again just for the exchange, but looking at the other 4 that they have in here, just really to Lith's point, it's garbage. It's garbage. They need to put, even thinking primary 4 faction heroes, put some of the current heroes in here. It's just almost sad to see that they're literally just leaving all of the content. And even thinking when I went through on that free-to-play account, getting copies of Shamira, getting copies of Nemisu, getting copies of, Thane and Estrilda, and all of these champions that are, 3 to 5 years behind. They're giving us all of the champions that fall, in the C, D, E tier, that they're giving us free rewards. Just update the content. Just really update the content. So what stats do I need to add to the Ghoulish Gallery for Envy? Envy is damage. Envy is very, very pure damage. Even looking here, physical pierce and crit. That's the reason why I went with my collection that had physical pierce. And both of these kind of either or, if you're adding attack in there, attack, physical pierce, both of them are going to do incredibly well with Envy, just because you're scaling up or you're leveling up the top end damage that he's doing in here. It's good. So no Envy going. Oh, no, the no Envy gang reporting in. Free to play life is not and does not have the Envy. Does Zora need to be 40? No, I don't have Zora at 40. As much as I would like, I kept Zora at 30. Even looking in here, when you look at a lot of these, applies an extra stellar mass to the one enemy nearest to Zora. Again, the cost return is not too different than building these heroes out a lot higher. When we start looking at the resource generation, when we start looking at a lot of these, because if you remember, even like when we built out Moriel, when we built out Audrey, these heroes were very, very short-lived, which are kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy because we built them out, we got them, we used them for maybe a month or two, very, very short-lived with a lot of these, and then they were eventually replaced in a very short manner. When it comes to damage dealers, they are super susceptible to the power creep. That is something you always have to remind and kind of remember, because even looking at Envy, where Envy is very, very strong today, the power creep for damage dealing heroes is very strong. Now, when we start looking at support heroes, when we start looking at a lot of kind of the bigger classification, a lot of these are used for a ton of content and for an extended amount of time, because their skills and abilities fundamentally will always work, where the damage dealers will get taken over from the whales themselves. Almost given up on the AFK Classic, unfortunately. Yeah, the cow official gaming. Yeah, I want to see. I want to see what it looks like. What it looks like. Honestly, Guys, and I really feel, and it's really, for me, it is sad to say, and I know a lot of you as well. If they don't start overvamping, or if they don't start revamping, a lot of the content in here, no one's going to play. We're not seeing the new players, and I know there were a couple comments made about servers as well. Is going in here and looking at the servers, is they have slowed down and slowed way, way, way down from releasing new servers. Now, for me, my thought about that is when you look at, slowing down and not releasing as many servers, it's because you're pushing all of those new players straight into companions. And again, we're not seeing as many players that are landing into AFK Arena, the classic version. And I don't like they even called it the classic version. It just seems like it's old, like they're not going to update it anymore, which is my fear. But overall, when you start looking at, not offering or not opening as many servers, that's usually the point where we see kind of the tipping point, or the top of the scale, where you start seeing them consolidating regions, consolidating servers, where if you have servers, that are being pushed out there, and the servers essentially, when you start looking at, the players within the servers, and more than 70% of players, let's say, in a server are no longer playing, is there a reason to run? Is there a reason to fundamentally pay for those servers? That's where, and again, just thinking about like World of Warcraft days, where they started consolidating of servers when it had already hit that kind of peak, and then it started coming down. So we did see a lot of consolidation just kind of back into less servers, back into less cost. And I feel like it's going to be a point where if the player base continues to decline in AFK Arena, we're going to start seeing a lot more of the consolidation and just starting to kind of put it all back together with what we have going on. It's going to be interesting to see what it has. And like I said, the 6th anniversary is going to be a point where I feel it's going to be really, really imperative, guys. They got to get it right. They got to change it. And I wanted to make sure, guys, that we did the gifting of the membership. I did not want to forget this. I try to remember it every single time. To give us a refund on the Witcher crossover. Yeah, the Witcher crossover, guys, and I am a massive, massive fan of The Witcher. I've watched The Witcher since release, watched it actually more than once, and absolutely, I love The Witcher series. Very, very disappointed with how they did The Witcher crossover event. That was really sad. And congratulations to the Cow Official Gaming. Got the gifting of the membership. That is awesome to see. But yeah, there are some collaborations that I would love to see that could come over. I know a lot of players, again, including a lot of comments over on Discord and Reddit. I know Vixen and a couple other ones. We're talking about what crossovers do we want to see? And do we want to see, some of the similar crossovers like what we did? It was interesting for them to do a second crossover with Overlord and then just bring one new hero over. Again, it was interesting to see how they did that dynamic. And it almost seems like that the companion server was one of the big factors on why they made that decision. Might just be me, but overall, it seemed like that was one of the big things, was being able to bring all 3 heroes to companions. Would be crazy. Soul Slayer is still pushing the Yukio crossover. I don't know. I don't know exactly if it's going to happen. I know he's been banning and boycotting. I think it's your messages that I've been seeing over on YouTube about the day 4 of the petition to get them done. Companions has gotten boring, nothing new in ages. That's the problem. So drinking the sites, that's exactly what kind of D2 and I were talking about. Even a lot of guildies that are in the very, very high top guilds, a lot of them have stopped playing, either kind of getting burnt out, or there's not a lot of competition. It's sad, but that's kind of what we've seen from a lot of different places, a lot of different, lot of feedback that I get from companions. Even when we do videos, not a lot of players really playing companions anymore. It seems like it was very short-lived. And again, they're not coming out with new stuff. As the game isn't going to be fun. You're not going to keep people, engaged. You're not going to keep them entertained if you're not coming out with anything new. And it's imperative. There has to be new content. There has to be new things. Short of them just pushing champions like crazy, there has to be new content that comes out for the game, or players are just going to get bored. they're just going to get bored with it. They're just going to put it down. They're just going to walk away. And I feel like, again, one of the big engaging parts that I've talked about is making and revamping the whole entire guild system. I feel like in this game, especially, that has always been a miss for a multitude of years, that they could really make that and really push out a system that would be amazing within the guild aspect itself, which again, I'm still just kind of waiting for. A Bleach crossover, yeah, Nicholas, I know a lot of players have talked about that. Curse Realm, Nightmare Corridor, and Abex is really all I play for. Yeah, and for me, yeah, Curse Realm, Nightmare Corridor, Abyssal Expedition, yes. A lot of fun. I like the Treasure Scramble. This is just a place to literally farm stuff. And I like farming the resources in your season over. We came in 99th. We usually stay 100 or under, which is good. So looking at our ranking, looking at our rewards at 99, they give me some more of the cards. We could push a little bit further, but again, not a crazy amount of rewards out of here. We usually stay right at this top 100 or below, which is good. We just need more insignias. We need, and I really try every single time, guys, like I said, trying to build out and trying to get more copies of land has just been like pulling teeth. I don't know if there's a point, and I don't know, even getting Scion built up a little bit further, but looking at only having the 3, we're saving all of our scrolls as it sits today, waiting to see what's coming next, what new Draconic hero we're going to see, and what's it going to look like. And then, of course, there's going to come a day where LAN is going to be available, that we're going to be able to actually add the furniture, because we've had furniture since LAN came out. This literal storeroom is just LAN's little storage facility. Or no, we put the furniture on there. That's right, I forgot. We got LAN Ascended, but we still do have any of the engraving. We have none of the engraving, but I think we took them to what, 9? Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 pieces of furniture there for LAN that had just been sitting. Just have to get some more and build it out. My goal is to 5-star every non-awakened hero, non-highborn hero. I'm getting there. I'm absolutely getting there. What's going on? Tynox, thanks for joining us for the stream. I hope we're not getting any new Draconic early for the next 4 months. I hope not. Guys, if they do another highborn Draconic hero, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, 6-year anniversary. There we go. 6 new factions. Why not roll it out, guys? Why not have cross factions? We can have a Lightbearer / Mauler. We could have a Graveborn Celestial. We could have a Draconic Highborn Awakened Dimensional Hero. We might as well just go crazy for the 6th anniversary. Cross over and do hybrid factions between all of them and just really unhinge the entire game with not knowing what is going on anywhere. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's stream. I want to say thank you guys to Echo for the gifting of the membership and everybody else for joining me and supporting the channel through all of the years. We are just shy of 40,000 subscribers. I believe we're at like 39. Yeah, it's getting up there. We are very, very close. 39,909. So we are what's that? 81 subscribers from hitting that 40,000 subscriber mark, which is going to be incredible. Over the last couple of years, everybody who's kind of come and gone and still enjoys AFK Arena, including myself, guys. Like I had said before, we're not going anywhere. I'm going to, for the good and the bad, for everything else, I'm going to still play AFK Arena. It is a game that I still really do enjoy. Love covering it, love playing the game itself. I know, again, maybe some of my requests and some of my things are falling on completely, deaf ears when it comes to Lilith, but I'm hoping they make some adjustments and some changes, and I hope they do come around the 6th anniversary. All right, guys, so like I said, thank you guys for joining me for the Sunday stream. Got to get ready, got some volleyball to go to, but again, thank you guys for joining me, and as always, thank you guys for watching.